Hey, welcome back to Courageous and Free. We're really excited to have you here today. And today we are going to be doing a whole story on grit to glory. And I love this because I think there's a whole bunch of you out there today who are going through some tough times. You are wondering, where is God? How am I going to make it through? Can I make it through? Sometimes it would be easier just to give up. Well, today, this talk is going to be for you. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Courageous and Free. And today I'm so excited because I've got some of our best friends in the world with us today. And this is Ben and Michelle Benkiran. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, we're excited, because Sean and I get the pleasure of hanging out with you guys. It's sort of boring.
Yeah.
Not really exciting a lot. We don't have a lot of fun. No, that's a joke. We laugh a lot. Ben is pure entertainment, as you will get to know that very quickly. But, a lot of people see you guys, as successful. Ben, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what you're doing now?
So now I am involved in a couple endeavors that are all around construction and real estate. I own a general contracting company, a roofing company, a solar company, and deal with all sorts of different investments.
We just wish that you would start doing just a little bit more.
Yeah,
Really kick it up a notch.
I'm thinking about it.
Just stop being such a slacker. I don't know.
He's so humble. Look at him.
He is very humble, very successful man. And then this is my beautiful friend, Michelle. Hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney here in Central Florida for 25 years. Just celebrated 25 years.
Amazing.
Oh, we get to celebrate
One of the
with
best
them.
in Florida.
And she's not going to tell you she's very humble, but she truly is one of the best in Florida.
All kinds of awards.
How many awards have you won? Honestly, let's make you brag on yourself.
No, I
that
don't
you
want to
never
brag on
do.
myself.
I know, but Ben, let's
We can
brag
brag
on
for
her.
you.
No, I
Let's
don't
brag
wanna
on her.
brag
Yeah, no, she's really, her accomplishment are just incredible. I think the latest was she's the top 3 percentile of the United States, actually. Her best law firm in real estate and business in Florida, and on and on and on the list.
Yeah.
I've seen those articles.
Yeah.
Amazing. No small feat for sure. Definitely a lifetime's worth of work right
Yeah,
there.
and just incredible hearts. I mean, honestly, in all trueness to you guys, these people they are salt of the earth, great people, and we really are honored to be their friend. But it's funny because people look at you and they see these beautiful people. You've worked hard, you've had great success, you love the Lord, you're huge givers. Everything is perfect. You've got incredible children, but yet it wasn't always that story. And I think that's what I'm excited about hearing today, is because I know that there's somebody out there today who is in the middle of going through some tough times and they're wondering if they're going to make it through. And so I think your story is really going to touch them. So I would love just to hear take us back a little bit.
So I'd like to qualify your statement, actually.
What is it?
It's not only that it was not always perfect, it is still not perfect.
Okay.
That's a great statement.
Thank you.
And it'll never be. And circumstances don't make perfection, acquisitions and diplomas and money, etc. It's above and beyond that. It, as we all know, it is a lot deeper. It's the relationship we have with our Savior, and that makes it a lot more joyful. You can have everything in the world and be miserable. So so I just wanted to qualify that. I can let you talk to a little bit about our journey.
Okay. So we started out, Ben was in construction, and I had just become an attorney. And we purchased a business here in Central Florida. So we moved up here from South Florida. And the business was really successful. I mean, it was very, very successful. And it grew exponentially. And so we were in our, 30s? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're in our 30s and just really on top of the world. As far as, financially, we had everything that we ever needed, wanted. We tried to always do the right things. We were, gave like we're supposed to, and, just raised our kids up in the church, and everything was going well. And then the crash happened. And when the crash happened, we took a we flatlined basically. And so we went from being able to basically purchase whatever we wanted, do whatever we wanted without even any thought, to going to Publix and hoping that the card would go through. I mean, so it was that bad. And
This is what year?
this was 2010-ish.
Yeah, about 10-ish.
Yeah, 10-ish.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it was really devastating to us. And we had to reacclimate our lives, and just kind of reacclimate our entire lives, just get used to it. And we had a lot of questions. We had a lot of, the first thing you say is, well, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Like I tried, we did the right things. We don't understand where we're at. Why are we going through this? There's a lot of stresses in life. I think one of the biggest ones is that you can go through, especially as a family, is financial. And when you don't have any money coming in, it's pretty rough. So I decided that at that time I had I was pretty much part-time in my profession. When we were hitting bottom, I was studying for my master's in ministry, and I was forced to go back to work. And so it was really difficult because I had to go to work because I can, obviously earn a living. There was no construction. So all of a sudden we had a change of position. Ben became kind of mommy and I became kind of daddy because I had to support our household for 3 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah, support our household for 3 years. And so not only do we have to go through this financial difficulty, we had a drastic change of roles that, my husband.
There's so many layers to that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I hear you talking about it, and I know you're just kind of skimming over, but in reality, when you dive deep into that, holy mackerel, that is some deep stuff right there to unpack.
Well, and even from your point of view, because you come from a culture where the man is the driver, the man is the driver.
Yep. Well, so I strategically had her start the conversation because a lot of men will relate to this. I forgot a lot of things that were so painful, and by her just reciting them, it just brings me to life because I probably would have missed them unconsciously. But you are correct. It is on so many levels that it was devastating. And the biggest devastation was that we did not know what we did not know. Mm-hmm. Although we were Christians, although we heard the words, although we read it, although we were continuously in fellowship, we did not understand certain things because we haven't gone through them. For instance, I never ever would have guessed that my identity was connected to my business.
Right.
I was not Ben. I was Ben, the owner of such and such company.
I think you're sharing a story of just about all those couples across America during
Without
the
a doubt.
2008 to 2015 crash period.
Absolutely.
Where everybody had to figure out, it was a whole new identity crisis. Really.
It was horrible. It's like, who am I? I was known as such. And then it's interesting how now a single look from you will make me question my identity and make me so insecure. Oh, well, he didn't call me back because I'm not such and such anymore. Or, oh, he didn't do this, or whatever the case might be. So it really is such a self-destructive moment. And the other aspect, of course, is to change roles. And like you touched on, Caroline, I come from I'm originally from Morocco, from an Arab culture where the man is the driver, the breadwinner, etc. And now I'm going to pick up the kids and stop my world at 3 p.m. and have to take them to school because she's the one. We made a strategic decision that she would go back to work. It's easy for not only her to get things started because of her law degree, but there was no construction going on. Mm-hmm. And so there were no opportunities. But still, that probably has really had so many more negative effects than anything else altogether. It's just the switching the roles and being the mommy
Well, and just you saying that, the first thing that just hit me is, did you suffer any depression? Was there any? I mean, because the sadness of building. Okay, so you build something up. It's going great. You're feeling good about yourself. There's a little bit of pride that comes with that, right? Because look what. But then all of a sudden you lose it all, and then you're questioning who you are. Questioning. Was there any depression? Any were you just didn't want to get out of bed?
So the depression that a lot of people might, if you ask anyone about depression, they'll picture somebody who is down and completely within and just not anxious all the time. But depression comes in different forms. The way that I got depressed was to outperform and try to do more than I needed to, and just trying to recreate things and always. Now there is a part of a portion of in the beginning where I didn't even want to get out of my bed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was so depressed and not understand. But after that, it's like you're depressed by trying to do too much. And that's
it's not working.
And it's not working.
Right.
And you're questioning, and you're doing. Oh, I want to do. Let's go do this. And you're just that is so unstabilizing.
Yeah.
So,
And for you, I mean, he had tried so many different outlets. He was, doing like 45 things and just trying, and nothing was working.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was working. We were just kept hitting brass walls. So. It was very tense. It was very, very. There was I guess a form of, I want to say angry, but there was not happiness. I mean, it was just very tough time.
But did you have a time where you sort of questioned God, like, what are you doing, or ask why? Did you? Because here you were doing all the right things. I mean, let's be honest with this. I mean, you guys are very big philanthropists. I mean, you do it without anybody knowing. It's your heart for Christ and to give and to help the kingdom. You were in school. I mean, you were studying ministry. This was who you were. And it wasn't like you were holding things back or not. I mean, you were out doing the work. Did you ever have that point where you're like, God, where are you? I mean, here we're doing your thing. We're giving. We're following your word. What's this all about?
Of course, yeah. But the question has been asked several times. I think the problem was not to ask it. The problem is how to go by answering that question. That was the issue, instead of letting him take over. And I think it was a moment of learning for us. It was a moment of really the way that I think about it today. And obviously we were not seeing this then. He was about to promote us.
But you couldn't see that.
Of course not.
No.
There's no. When we promote someone, we let them know. By the way, I want you to go to a boot camp, and when you survive that and you do good, then we're gonna get you your promotion. You get promoted without knowing you're being promoted.
You're
just
going through
this like,
know.
What is going on here? Yeah. Why are you trying to drown me here?
Are you holding my head
Why
down?
are you holding my head here?
Yeah.
What did I do? Didn't we just have a nice conversation 5 minutes ago? And so you're not understanding what's going on. But today, and that's the part where I say you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. But today I can tell you that every single time we go through this or similar situation, I know that God is about to promote us. He is training us. He is testing us. How is he going to promote us to get us to the next level without knowing what we're made of? And can we actually survive that, et cetera? So,
and I mean, I think people need to understand too, when we're saying that you really went down, I mean, you had to let go of your home. You let go of your business.
Oh, yeah.
You let go of your cars.
Yeah.
I mean, people need to understand, we're not talking about a little bit of, I mean, we're talking you completely
Total
went.
loss of everything,
Right.
and then the kids feel the pressure, obviously.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole different element in how you still raising a family in the midst of that.
yeah.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
Speaking about that, not only did we go down, I mean, we completely flatlined. I mean, it was, like I said before, when we went into Publix to purchase food, I was praying that it would go through. But it was a humbling experience also. I mean, I was an attorney. We went bankrupt. Our business went bankrupt. We went bankrupt. So I had to walk into federal bankruptcy court and see all my peers watch me claim bankruptcy. So it was very humbling, So when you're going through something like that, the Lord allows you to, I guess, expose things like, pride, humility, things that you don't necessarily think that you had ever issues with really start to surface. And
So you just stripped everything away.
yeah.
And I like how you're saying that, because a lot of us people go, oh, well, that house doesn't mean anything to me, because you sort of, that's where you get up and leave from every day. So you're not thinking about it. Oh, the car doesn't mean anything to me, because it's the car you get in and out of every day, the clothes you wear, the facials you get. But all of a sudden when it's gone, they're like, man.
That's what I said that's what I said. You don't know what you don't know. We've had these talks all the time. It's not about the house. Who cares about the house? Who cares about the money? It's only this and the other until it happens. And then you're like, yeah, no, that house means something, and that business is my identity, and on and on and on and on. So yeah, it's really a humbling experience.
And not only that, but we actually never thought that we would actually. It was just, we were so in the just mire that we never actually thought that we would ever kind of come out of it. And so, when we did, the first time we did, we had a little bit of money, and we took the kids and we went to a restaurant, Four Rivers, and we just sat there, and we were so thankful, because we never thought we could ever afford this again.
And we ordered dessert that day.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, right?
It was. But we actually, and so from the experience, we became so much thankful for every little thing that God did for us. Whereas before we were thankful, but I don't think we had a heart of gratitude. I mean, not to the depth that we understood. Like, we really sat there and said, thank you, God, for allowing this to happen.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, because we're going to come back, and we want to begin to hear how God began to pull you back out, because that to me is the power. It's the resurrection story, right?
Yes.
And it's because we don't give up. I always say that the key to winning is getting back up one more time than you've been knocked down. You cannot stay down. So we are going to come back, but we're going to take a quick minute, because I want you guys to watch a video. Many of you know that we work with girls that have been rescued from human trafficking. I just left a conference with the ambassador of Impact, and last year human trafficking was a $150 billion a year business. That should make you go, what? But we just found out that it's actually went up. It is a $236 billion a year business this year. And so what we're realizing, that with all the awareness that we're doing, is awareness is not leading to convictions. And what we are here at Courageous and Free is we are rescuing girls, but what are we rescuing them to? And that is where Courageous and Free comes in. And we are opening up a home for girls that have been rescued. It's going to be a 2-year restoration program. And the eventual goal is that we want to have a whole restoration community. So we want you to watch this video and really prayerfully consider how you can be a part of this. Don't get angry. Come make a difference. Hi, I'm Carolyn Goad-Pankella, and I am really excited to be a part of this message that we are going to be bringing to you today. It's about education, awareness, what we can do, and how we are going to make a difference. And my slogan is, it's not okay. And we are going to be a voice to the voiceless. So come take this journey with us.
So I've been in law enforcement for over 25 years. I spent the last 13 years or so of my career fighting human trafficking, because my goal was to end this atrocity. 90 to 95% of kids coming into sex trafficking are being lured in. They're being lured in by recruiting and grooming.
And so one day when I was leaving out of the gas station, that is where I locked eyes with my first trafficker. And it only took him 3 words to realize that I was his perfect victim before he started grooming me. And those 3 words was, "You are beautiful." Those are 3 words that I had never heard my entire life from people that were supposed to love you and support you and be there for you.
The grooming stage is where they're slowly being conditioned for the life that they're about to get into.
But over the next 3 weeks, he would then groom me and kind of find out everything about me. And I wish I knew all this then, but I didn't. But that's when he started to learn my family history, my background, where I came from, who loves me, who supports me.
So one of the fastest growing aspects of minor sex trafficking or sex trafficking of minors is what we refer to as familial trafficking. That's kids being trafficked by their own families.
Both of my parents were drug addicts and alcoholics. So my dad had a stroke when I was 9, then that left him disabled. And after that, my mom got involved with more drugs. She started doing crack. Eventually, she started prostituting herself for her drugs. And I went with her one time when I was 11, and her drug dealer offered her a $10 piece of crack for me instead of for her.
After about 3 weeks of grooming me, he asked me, did I want to go on vacation with him? And off we went to where I thought was going to be the vacation of my dreams was actually the nightmare from hell. Every thought in my mind is going off, but he reminded me with the truth. And the truth was, don't think about running because no one is going to look for you. No one cares about you. No one will even know that you're dead.
My trafficker would take me to a hotel. He would make arrangements with the staff so that he wouldn't have to stay. The staff would let people in the rooms. And I remember one time I had been there for a couple of days. The staff came in one day and they told me that my friend called, which was my trafficker, and said that I needed to walk home, which was a couple miles away. And I remember I was walking down the hall barefoot, bleeding, crying, and nobody asked any questions. If I was okay, if I needed help, they just let me walk by and leave.
We're talking about little human beings that dream of being firemen and police officers and astronauts who find themselves in the back room of a brothel.
And so you're probably all wondering, okay, well, how did you get here? How did you get here? The time when I finally got that courage again, right, to walk into that church completely broken. I remember sitting there like this, and they were in a DNA series, and they were talking about God's DNA, love, acceptance, mercy, grace, being adopted into a family, right? All these things that we know about God's love, but however, I never knew them. I just remember sitting there weeping with my face in my hands, like I've been looking for this my whole life.
The ILO says that right now, while we're sitting here, there are 40.3 million victims of human trafficking in the world today. The only way to combat it is for every individual to become angry enough to realize that to stop this, I must be engaged.
We've got to be a part. We're asking you to join this fight with us. Alone, we can do so little, but together, we can do so much.
They need a place where they can come and just find that healing. A place where they can recover their voice. They can recover their dream. They can recover their hope. And they can recover what it truly means to be created in the image of God. So we need safe homes.
And I get chills just even saying it to you because I see the difference that it makes to pull these girls out of the situations they're in. And guys, it's not rocket science what we're gonna do. We're gonna just love them. We're gonna tell them they're worthy when they feel unworthy. We're gonna hold them when they cry. We're gonna listen to them share their traumas, but then we're gonna celebrate with them as they get their victories. People say it's a $150 billion business, Carolyn. How are we ever gonna stop it? Listen, one person at a time. They're born one at a time, they die one at a time, so we reach them one at a time.
You be the voice for the voiceless. You be the hope for the hopeless. And you be the love for those who have not experienced love in a long time.
We can't give up. We can't stop. but we need your help today to make a difference in one girl's life. Welcome back to Courageous and Free, and we're here with Michelle and Benkiran, and we're hearing their story. And man, you guys are inspiring us today. I mean, right now we're hearing a lot of, whoa, you've been down to the depths. And I always have a saying that when you're going through hell, don't stop running. Don't park in your pain. And that's really hard to do that when you're in the middle and the overwhelming sense of just the loss. The loss is so big. The depression, your identity, it's like you were saying, you don't realize your identity is tied up in that. But tell me a little bit more about when you're down so low. You have a story that you always talk about that I love, when you were in the stairwell of just really how low you were getting. I don't know if you want to share that.
Sure. So, we went, as Ben was saying before, Ben was trying like 100 things, and we were just trying. And as you know, you get tired. You get tired after a while of just trying. And I was exhausted because everything that my husband was doing was not working. I would go to work because I had to go back to work. I had my own firm, and I had been transitioning from going, studying for my master's in ministry to, okay, now I have to rebuild my firm.
Yeah, because you were starting all over again. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going back to another business.
No.
It was like, let me start another business.
Yes. So I had to, because before I was very part-time. I only had a couple of clients that I had kept while I was going to school because I couldn't do both. But so when I went back, I had to literally rebuild my business. And so I would go every day, and we would try and, just advertise and just, tell people, I'm back, et cetera, et cetera. And, it could be, I don't want to say depressing, but it could be discouraging. In the beginning, you're like, I'm trying, I'm getting up every day, I'm going, here and I'm doing everything. And so I think after several months of, or maybe even a year of us trying, I just was exhausted. And I never forget the day I went into the office, and I was in the stairwell, and I was ready to go upstairs. And I just bowed my head, and I was like, Lord, I am so tired. Like, I cannot, I'm tired of trying. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of, I'm tired. I'm here today. Yeah. I'm here today. I'm like, I'm here today. Just do what you want. I'm here today. Like, lead. And it was at that point was a turning point in my life, because it was a true surrender. Like, I thought I surrendered before, but I was still trying. But this was like, I'm exhausted, just take over. And I walked up the stairs, and ever since that day, it was that true surrender. Like, okay, I know it's not about me or my abilities. It's about, your sovereignty and your plans for my life. And ever since that day, that point of surrender, things just started to change,
I know somebody's out there asking today, like, what do you mean surrender? I mean, that's a big word. Like, I've surrendered everything. I've given up my house. I've given up my cars. I've given up, sometimes they're out there saying the only thing that's keeping me alive right now is my fight to keep fighting. So when you say surrender, what does that mean when you say, I just had to surrender? What was it you surrendered? Because it wasn't your fight.
Yeah, no. I think I just surrendered my will and trying. Like, I knew I had to get up and go to work every day. I knew that I had to do that. But I surrendered in so much as that I think thinking that I can do it. And just the striving. I just said, okay, whatever you have, whatever you put in front of me, I'm going to do to the best of my ability. And I'm going to get up, I'm going to come to work, and, whatever you put in front of me. And so the surrender was really, not, I think it was more like just waiting on him, doing what I needed to do. Because there's a, an in-between. It's like I didn't not do anything. I did what I was supposed to do, but I waited on him. And waited on him meaning, like, I didn't make myself crazy about, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do that. I knew that I had to go to work, so I went to work. And whatever he put in front of me, I was thankful for. And I just did. So
I'm interested to hear from you. What does that mean for you? Because
Yeah, so I'm known for giving out analogies.
okay,
So I'm going to give you one.
sure,
Surrender, the way that we applied it versus the way that it really should be, is the same analogy as being on diet and cutting out the carbs. So you have people that are on diet, but they only cut up part of what they should not be eating, but they're not really changing their lifestyle. They're just not eating bread anymore, but they still drink soda, let's say. They still eat sugar. They haven't changed their lifestyle. So we were only cutting out certain things, thinking that was the thing, versus changing our lifestyle. And surrender is literally giving it out to God. And so, I'm going to try to explain this by telling you what I used to pray and how I pray now. We used to pray, or I used to pray by as follows. When I wake up in the morning, I thank God for the gift of life. I thank him for all the blessings he's blessed me with. And I share with him my agenda. And I tell him, I'd like for you to come and help me realize these agendas and make them successful. He was my partner. Today, I'm his employee. He's the CEO. And the way I pray is I wake up and say, God, thank you for the gift of life. What are we doing today? I follow your path. I have my agenda, but it's irrelevant. You tell me. You want me to stop all day on the sidewalk waiting for whatever? I'll do it. It's all about you. And that's surrender. See, we thought we surrendered by trying to still do things and do it in a certain way, but we did not put him as the number one focus of our life. That's everything has to start with him. He has to be within everything, and he needs to finish with that thing. Where before we pick and choose, and he's there whenever we need him, he just comes in as a rescue.
You know, it almost seems like, too, just listening to you, too, that I think all of us at some sense can relate to this, but like there was a lot of motivation being driven from fear. A lot of fear. I mean, you're just nervous energy. You're just trying to survive in fear. And then, Michelle, you got to a point in the stairwell where you're like, you know what? I'm all feared out. God, it's you. I'm here to do what you want me to do now. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of running. And you're the challenging part is you're running with bad shoes because you are fighting things that are so hard to cope with if God is not part of your lifestyle. You doubt your abilities. You're like, well, I did everything right and I can't succeed. I am the failure. I am bad. And Satan does a phenomenal job at making you believe that. But here's another component that is as bad. So many relationships disappeared because now we're not who we used to be in society. We're not related to that business. We were not successful financially. We're not living here anymore. We're not driving the nicer cars. And right or wrong indifferent, that people are actually abandoning you because they're shallow or because it's a perception, you feel it. And you're battling that. You're like, these friends were only hanging around with us just because of who we represent, not really because of who we truly are. And that's devastating. And so you're running and you're fighting with all that baggage and all these thoughts that are eating you up. So, yeah.
Well, I think that is really true. I think that when you go through hard times, you really find out who your true friends are. And I think, we've found that sometimes in our own life when we went through some things, people that we thought that we have served for years just disappeared on us. We're like, where did you go? This is when we need you. And they're like, we're out of here. And you're like, whoa, you feel the loss of the room. The room goes empty. And you're hanging on anyways. And I love how you said that when you're doubting yourself. But somewhere in here, in that surrender, because I think for me what that surrender means is that you get to the end of your rope.
Yep.
And I think when we get to our end of our rope, that's where Jesus is
Yep.
at. And now he's like, are you tired?
Yep.
Yes. Are you ready to give up your will,
That's right.
your way? Yes. Okay, let me take over. And then when you put those hands up, which you know, it's always the hardest part. That's why I love that word surrender.
Yep.
Because I know somebody's out there today and that surrender is really hard. Like they're hanging on, they're grasping, and they're looking for it, anything of this world, trying to fill it up. And then they're running to things of this world. They're using alcohol, something to numb the pain. They're using drugs to numb the pain. They're using sex to numb the pain. They're leaving their relationships to go be with another man or woman, something to make them erase the moment of what they're in. But it's when you just, I love how my husband, he's like, we're just going to hunker in. When that hunkering, you got to hunker into the pain. You got to almost embrace it.
Yeah.
You've got to feel it, and you've got to take it before God, and then you got to go, God, I surrender. Here we go.
Well, another thing that we have realized through this is we take too much ownership of things that we don't have to take ownership to. I mean, none of this is ours.
Yeah.
I mean, as an analogy, again, that employee that goes in and clocks in, if he had this whole idea about doing all this and the other, if his boss tells him, this is what I want you to do today, that's what he's going to do today. We don't do that. We feel like we need to be partnering up. You know, this is none of ours. None of these finances, these degrees, all these things are ours. I mean, we've been blessed by God to have them, but at the end of the day, it's for His glory.
In 2 minutes, take me through what was the change. When did it start to come back? Because people need to see you. You got to the point of surrender, but then something started. You didn't give up. You know, I'm telling you, I always say that you just can't give up. You know, because a lot of people give up. They get overwhelmed, they get depressed, they start drinking, they start laying down, they stop working. It's so easy. We're not judging anybody because it's so easy to want to do that. But you obviously, you had those emotions, but somewhere you pulled it back together. You guys stayed together as a marriage. What was the moment that it began to change and you got back at it?
Well, do you want to go first, or because I have my epiphany?
I think I shared my epiphany.
I love how God uses anyone and everyone to make things happen. He uses a donkey. So my dad, God did that through my dad. He was in his deathbed, and he was dying. It was his last day, and I saw a man that was my idol, my hero, that was literally spending his last hours in a bed with nothing. None of his finances, none of his successes mattered whatsoever. And most importantly, my daughter Gabriella prayed over him, and it was through in Morocco, in his deathbed. It was through a window. He couldn't hear her, and she's like, she prayed over him salvation prayer, and she told him, Papa.
Well, he was unconscious.
And he was unconscious.
Completely unconscious.
Completely unconscious.
So there's a window. Yeah.
Last hours. I mean, he's literally a few hours later he passed, and she's like, Papa, if you hear me, give me a sign. And he turned around and looked at her.
It was he. Yeah.
Yeah. So that did it for me.
You knew God was there.
And God was listening.
I mean, God did that through a window, through my dad was living his whole entire life as Muslim, and so anyway, so yeah, and God has His ways if we only let Him, and surrender, and since then, Michelle can testify to this. I 100,000% give it all up to God.
Yeah, I want to share a story. I mean, it's become such a way of life for us. I remember, so obviously God has restored us, and I'm so thankful for everything. But I think most of all,
You've worked really hard too.
we have,
Yeah.
and we're thankful for the journey and what God has put in front of our lives. But during this journey, in his construction company, there was one day that he had no work. I said to him, so what are you going to do? And he walked over to the couch and he sat down. He says, I'm not going to do anything. And
So yeah, I was literally sitting there. I'm like, there's nothing for me to do.
he said, we can't do.
He does it. I'm just gonna follow his lead. I get a call from this guy who was driving by Orange Avenue, saw a sign of our number that we were just leaving at somebody's building, calls us, $3 million project later. Fast forward. Cold call. Yeah. And I'm talking to this guy.
You're telling me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking to this guy and I'm like, he's like, I'm from Chicago. I'm here just for one day. Do you want to meet? I'm like, oh God, this is one of those tire kickers and $3 million project later that got us to over the hump.
Give me a scripture. Give me a scripture that really got you through.
Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything will follow.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys being on today and just being willing to. I was just saying this during the break that, man, even you sharing, you can tell it takes you right back to that moment of you could feel it all over again. And I think there's a blessing in that, because now who you are now and what matters to you, it's completely different. I think you're doing it completely different this time. So we just hope this has encouraged you guys today. You know, I think one of my favorite scriptures is because of the Lord's great love. And we could stop there.
Yeah.
Because his great love is enough.
That's the story.
It is the story. We are not consumed. So whatever you're going through, the promise is because of his great love, he loves you. You are not consumed, for his mercies are new every morning. And it says, great is his faithfulness. And so we just want to speak life over you, whatever you're going through today. What we're going to say, if you feel that you're down to rock bottom, let Jesus be the rock on which you stand. And if you need anything, you can go to courageousandfree.org. We are there. We'd love to pray with you. Put your email in for prayer request. We want to pray with you. Just be encouraged today. Do not give up, because God is still on the throne. And what you think is going to destroy you, God is going to lead it to victory. It's going to make you stronger. Sounds like a song. So until next time, stay courageous and free, and God bless you.